Do you need to be an alpha male to be successful in a estate and letting agency? Today, I'm joined by Toby Martin, who is a letting agent from the beautiful city of Bath. Talk to me.
Well, Chris, I don't perceive myself as an alpha male.
Okay.
I've got nothing against alpha males, but
So does your missus wear the wife fronts in your family then?
100%, yes, and trousers and everything else. I wonder if there's people watching this who feel the same way as I did. When I was starting out an agency, I encountered a lot of men, very impressive men, but definitely alpha men. And I found them at conferences, on LinkedIn.
Okay.
These were the people running companies, and I perceived them as my image of success. But they weren't me. I'm very much the quietest person in the room. I'm a bit of an introvert. I am not someone to go around with my chest puffed out. I have confidence issues. And it took me a long time to accept that I could progress within agency. Because when I walked into a room, I did not think that I was the kind of person who would fit in with these people who are evidently very successful at running their agencies.
So was this the imposter syndrome?
Definitely, yes. There's certainly an element of that. So something that I still encounter day to day, as so many people do.
Would it fascinate you that even those people who are, as you would say, big swinging, driver 5
Very
Series,
impressive people.
yeah, they bar one, every single person that sat on that sofa, bar one person, bar one, suffers from imposter syndrome.
It would have surprised me. I've met enough
Bar
people
one.
now.
Bar one.
Bar one.
Okay.
And I don't know who that one is, but
I will not tell you.
no, absolutely. I would ask that one. I'd love to ask that person whether they think they could benefit from a dose of imposter syndrome, because I've come to think that imposter syndrome can actually be a force for good. And it's only since I've come to terms with my imposter syndrome and befriended it that I now think that. And I think it can be a driving force that makes you keep wanting to be better and better because you haven't settled, you haven't stopped learning. I think that actually if you lose that imposter syndrome, you actually lose something beneficial. So I think a dose of it is good. But certainly in those early days of agency, I did not believe that I could personally work on the same level as people who dominate the room, control the conversation. And actually, I've come to realise that there's room in agency for everybody.
Do you know a lot of the time it's all a facade?
I don't doubt it, yeah. A very compelling facade, one that I'm not capable of. But for a little while, I certainly thought that I would need to try and replicate that.
The amount of times I've seen a young valuer be upgraded to a branch manager and goes in there, tries to argue with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas now, I really think that puffing your chest out on an appraisal is perhaps not even that effective a tactic in building trust and building connections, as opposed to what I might call beta male approach, which is to perhaps be more disarming, to acknowledge that actually I'm maybe not the best fit for that client. Maybe I'm not the best agent in town for them. To acknowledge that there are other good agents in town, to support one another, to boost each other.
When did you get this self-awareness?
It's something that I've definitely gained through mentoring, being a mentee. Certainly when I started my mentor-mentee relationship through Agents Together, that was something that my mentor helped me with a huge amount. Knowing my own value is how he put it, and having that self-belief in myself.
So that made you a better person. Self-awareness that you don't have to be big, swinging dick, cocky, twat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you happier person?
100%, 100%. And I also know that I can present myself with confidence as who I am without being too concerned about being perceived as arrogant, cocky, because I'm not. I am a very capable property professional. I'm good at what I do, and I can tell other people that without worrying about being perceived as a bit of a dick swinger.
let me compliment you. And the fact is that I think you have two skills which some of the best estate and letting agents have, which is hunger with humility.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. I think that, I mean, some of the really important things to me are acknowledging what you're not very good at and being prepared to work on those, but also being honest with other people about them. And again, I think that sort of alpha male mentality is closed to your own
Because
fakeness.
you said in a previous video that that when you fell out of university, that and also another time you didn't tell your parents because you put a facade on.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that I couldn't share that. I was too scared of being seen as a failure when all that I needed was support at that time. And
And that's the magic thing is that not being afraid to be seen as failing.
not being afraid to
No,
being seen
no
as a
one really
failure.
cares, do they?
Also not being afraid to ask for help. And again, going back to mentoring, that's now a critical thing in my professional life. And being able and not being afraid to ask your peers to support you and help you is something I think that anyone should be able to do without fear of being perceived as weak.
Well, thank you for your time today, Toby. It's been exceptional, and I hope you, the viewer, has got a lot from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.